crossbows. This is my collection. You can call it two a collection, I suppose you can, of crossbows. These are both cheap, they're not expensive at all. This is a little £80 one, apparently. £80, something like that. Cobra system. They're all Japanese or Oriental. This one's really easy to cock, it's got a little button there. There's dozens of videos on YouTube for this. I made a modification to it, which is basically drilled a hole through the snout and put a big key ring for it so I can hang it on a hook. It uses these, which are nice and sharp. Well, they're not really nice and sharp at all. These are cheap, nasty, horrible ones. I'd love to find some aluminium ones with decent flights on them. These are pieces of tube. If you use aluminium billet, tap a thread on the end and put a stainless steel tip on it, it should weigh more. Arrows fly straight, obviously, because they're heavier at the front. I'll move that to the side. This is an Armex, big old Armex. It's got a Hawk dot sport sight on it, which I've never really had the chance to set up properly. I'm a member of a gun club, so eventually I will take this up to the range and get it set up at like 25-30 yards. This, I think, is £150. I'll turn this light so it's actually over here. This is 150 or 170 pound, I can't remember off the top of my head. I have one of these things that I use for cocking it sometimes, but they're really hard to learn how to use or remember how to use, so I tend to just go in and bare it, do it with my bare hands. The string or the cord on this thing is already frayed, which is probably not a good sign. That's only a cheap one. You can get a much, that one was like 16 quid, I think you get a really deal. Give me my phone. I've got two sorts of arrows. There's the standard ones that this came with. These aren't bolts. Those other ones are bolts. These are arrows because they're bigger and longer. I've got the standard ones with the pointed tips. Obviously 3 vanes. I've had to glue the vanes back on because they come off. And then I've got these ones which I have fashioned by using some old bolts. You see, cap heads. These are blunt. Ideally, when you shooting a small game, not that it's illegal in this country to do that, or would I ever, you want to use a blunt force to kill them rather than a pointed arrow, because a pointed arrow could actually pass quite easily. Believe me, with this big crossbow, a pointed arrow could quite easily pass straight through a piece of small game, such as this. Yes, you're a piece of small game. But anyway, I'll give you a comparison of what the differences between damage for the two are. Down the hallway here, on the crossbow, on the archery target, we have an old Binatone foam. I'll take a couple of shots with the little bow, the little crossbow, which is so easy to cock. Cat's wandering. No, you're not going up in the loft. Cat likes to go in the loft. Right, this is standing in the same place where I stand when I shoot me with bow, so I'm about 6 or 7 yards away. Yeah, let's shut her up. Right, you can see why I don't like using these. That's actually snapped the tip off of that straight away. So, I'm going to pull that out. I'd hazard a guess and say it was actually the foam falling that damaged it, rather than the impact. But that's another dead crossbow bolt. So we'll do one more with the little one. Will you shut up? Trying to do a video here. I'm going to aim for the screen whether I can hit it or not. It's a different story. Meow. Just a little bit high, but you can see these things are so cheap. They just break. You put them under even the tiniest bit of stress, and they just break. You get for a pack of them a week. They're so weak and feeble. So I don't shoot the crossbow much. At least not the little one anyway. No, you're not going in the loft. It would seem, not only does my cat really insist on that she wants to go in the loft, but it would also seem that I've left the dot sight on the big crossbow. Switched on. So I'm going to have to change the batteries. I don't know why I bother putting Duracells in there, because I always forget to turn the bloody sight off. So, this has got to stand up this way. This is great fun trying to get these in here. Doesn't it just sound pathetic down the hallway there? Meow. Right, there we go. That's working now, which is nice. Will you shut up? Just shush. These people don't want to hear you whining and whinging. I want to go on the left, I want to go on the left, I want to go on the left, I want to go on the left. You're not going up there, so just go outside. Go and catch something. Right, so this is the big crossbow, and it's an awful lot more savage than the little one, as you will soon see. No, get away from the crossbow, you stupid animal. Pointed one first. This Frankenstein. Right, you can see that's slightly more damaging. It hasn't made it all the way through. But it's certainly done an awful lot of damage. Probably should be wearing gloves pulling this out of here because there's glass in here. Yeah, that's a lot more damaging. It hasn't gone all the way through. Now, we'll shoot a blunt. See what that does. So, blunt. That's a bit more savage. There you can see why you would use blunts on small animals. We'll have one more with a blunt. It's it's really difficult to see where this is going, so it's difficult to aim with shots. But that's the difference in power between a little tiny crossbow and a slightly more powerful one. Yeah, I'll take one more shot, eh? I know you're loving watching this ball foam cockpit. See if I can hit the keyboard this time. So close. So that's what one of these does. Basically that phone is now totaled, and there is also a pretty nasty mess on the floor. If anyone ever points a crossbow at you, out of the way. There, like I say, this is a cheap crossbow with a cheap sight, and I don't think if you got shot in the head with either a blunt or a point, I don't think you'd be getting up and walking away. This little guy, it's alright for plinking indoors. It's not quite so dangerous. It's not going to go through a plasterboard wall or anything like that. I mean, obviously it'll put a hole in a plasterboard wall, but it's not going to go right the way through. But that's my crossbows, and to be honest with you, that's pretty much what I use them for, is destroying stuff. Thanks for taking the time to watch, guys, and see you when I see you. Well, never see you. Bye.